Welcome to Battle Station Radio. I'm your host, Kate Ellsworth. It's been a long time since I made a Star Wars podcast episode. The last episode I published was in November of 2019, the first year anniversary extravaganza of the old podcast. A lot of things have happened since then in the world of Star Wars. Andor came out and was awesome. Kenobi came out. Bad Batch was a new show that probably was announced and 2 seasons released during the time that I've been away. The biggest one is that The Rise of Skywalker, Episode 9, released in theaters and now has been out for almost 4 years, which is crazy. We've been through a few names for this Star Wars podcast. The first was Fully Operational, which I learned about 9 months into doing the podcast that someone else had been using years previous. I contacted them. They had asked me to change the name. So we changed to Battle Station Radio with Kate Ellsworth, which is what we're back to now, and I'll explain that in a sec. And then in the middle, when I stopped making new episodes, I was in the middle of a rebranding of the show to a Darth Podcast. But having done some research today, actually, there's a podcast called Darth Podcastius, which I don't want to step on their toes. So I'm going to go back to Battle Station Radio, which I really like, and I like all the branding and stuff that I did for that. Speaking of stopping making new episodes during that rebranding, why did I stop? I think there was a few reasons. I probably burned out on the podcast, honestly. It stopped being an enjoyable thing to do and felt more like a chore. Basically, life was really busy and other things sort of took priority over the podcast, so I stopped making it. Lots of things have happened in my life personally while I've been away from the podcast. I got married. That's pretty big news. I got married in 2020 to my wife, Summer, and she is amazing. We're going to celebrate our 3rd anniversary next week on Tuesday, so that's awesome. On a bit of a more somber note, my brother Colby Ellsworth, who had been on the podcast a couple times, he became one with the Cosmic Force and passed away 2 years ago in July of 2021. So we really miss him, but we know that he's in a better place. I had a job for about 1.5 years at a medical practice. Now I'm a freelance WordPress developer, and I started a gaming YouTube channel about 2 months ago, which I need to get on that and start making more videos for that again. I guess the next question is, why am I back? Why am I doing the podcast again? Well, it's still true that I love Star Wars. I'm really excited for the new Ahsoka show coming out, and that's really got me pretty pumped for Star Wars right now. So that's a big reason about why I want to make new episodes. Andor was really awesome, and I thought about starting it up again, but I was a little too busy at that point. I think there are some exciting things on the horizon for Star Wars as a whole, some exciting movies that were announced. Obviously, Ahsoka, The Acolyte, Season 3 of The Bad Batch is all on the horizon. And I have the time and energy to start producing a podcast again, which is awesome. As far as what you can expect to see in the future for the podcast, obviously I'll be breaking down some of the Ahsoka trailers, some of the marketing for that. Obviously sharing my thoughts on all the shows and movies that have come out since 2019, so that'll be a big backlog of things to talk about. I want to share Star Wars news when it comes out. I'm always a little behind on Star Wars news, so maybe by becoming a source of news myself, I can get caught up. And obviously, like in the old podcast, conversations with other fans, including my brother-in-law, my good friend Caleb, Thomas Olson, who was on the show before. We'll have all of them on, and it'll be exciting. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you're excited as I am, that you're excited to listen to the podcast, and I'm excited to make it. So it's great to be back. Thanks so much for watching. May the Force be with you.